What are you gonna do, anything?
For me?
Yeah.
For how?
People are thinking, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen so many decorations. And
So you
big
want
ones.
to,
Like,
Irish corners?
Adorable.
You want to size corner? Yeah. I'm actually gonna take my wife over there to show her. So you get a chorus.
They have that warehouse,
No,
and they do it like every holiday.
Not my truck.
No, I got this one. They don't use rules for Christmas.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome you to tonight's workshop meeting. In the meeting, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Quick introductions: David Haas, Doug Bolivar, Jude Butler, Frank Kazizi, Sue Horton, TJ Moyer, and Katie Powers. Just a quick note, we have a miscellaneous file. We have an HP 12A and a new HP 51A cartridge upstairs if anyone could use either one of those. Felicia found it downstairs and just brought it up and asked anybody to utilize it. So that's just what we have for today's meeting. Okay, opening item, first item we have on the discussion items is discussion of the 2025 preliminary budget.
The one deal and then the minutes. You have to say that.
Okay, this one here. Okay, I'm sorry, David, can you just, this is the last
Tell
minute.
you what, Tom, you can have the honor.
No, David, please, you
Tom,
can so
I insist.
David, you're too kind. Okay, tonight we had a last minute addition for one vendor invoice for $562.50. All the members of the board were gracious enough to review it, and we put that through for payment. That's it. The minutes for our October 10th and October 16th meeting will be read at our next full town board meeting.
So can we get a couple public comment?
Pardon?
We're gonna have public comment?
Not tonight, no.
On the budget, you're not done? I don't think it'd be physically possible to keep you quiet in the budget. I really don't. Good question.
You have a question?
On the budget, as it's prepared.
Go ahead, Lou, I don't want to.
Okay. On page 10, the library, you got zero. Okay?
Hey, I'm not there. I know what you're talking about, but please hold it out.
Okay. There's nothing there for personal services, equipment, contractual expenses, or special project. But if you go to page 1, we got library referendum column that says 71,290.
Yes, sir.
So is that to include the $10,000 that's going to be on the referendum? And what is the breakdown of that 71,290? I mean, every other department has to break down their personal services or equipment and contractuals. Why is it different for the library?
Okay, the library is set up the same as the fire department, except for separate taxing district. That's what the 71,290 has been right along. So that's what that's for. The 10,000, because it is a ballot item, and in case it does pass, we didn't want to cut ourselves short, so that's why we put it in under contractual item there.
In case
But
it
every
doesn't
other
pass.
year,
Pardon?
In case it doesn't pass.
In case, I'm sorry. Okay, excuse me.
I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, every other year.
every other year in the budget that I can remember, it was always broken down to personal services, equipment, etc.
Not for the library.
for the library.
No, for the library, it was always posted on page 2. For the
My bad.
library
All
referendum.
right, my error. I thought it was always broken down.
No, not that 71,290, because that has been.
So
an
are you
ongoing-
saying that the library is not a department of the town?
It's separated out on your tax bill. A
It is.
long time ago, it
Yeah.
didn't used to be, and then I forget, you might remember how many years ago, we found out that it had to be a separate line item.
Okay. My bad, then. I always thought it was separate.
No, so it's not a case of being bad, it's rushing on your end, but, well, it's always, it has been, as of the past 5 or 6 years at least, there's been a separate item in the, for the tax, separate taxes. So that's why it's listed separately on page 2. But that's the current amount that they have, that they've been receiving, and, that's why it's there, so it's the same as the fire department, that's why it's not broken.
Well,
That 71,000 is not broken down.
it's not the same as the fire department because the fire department's a contract.
We have a contract, yes.
It's a contract.
Excuse me for speaking too long, but it's similar in that respect. That's when it's separate tax breakout.
All right, and like I stated, well, I haven't seen the preliminary budget. I haven't seen the official preliminary budget, but after your last meeting, what was the final, the tax rate?
When we getting,
The increase.
when we can only go 2%. We get tax cap, tax max is 2%.
Okay, so you're gonna utilize the, I'll call it surplus.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, but then again, so you can bring it down to 2 or 0, depending on how much you take out of surplus. But that doesn't benefit, but we're still raising the benefit rate on the water district by 9-point-something%. Anybody in the water district is gonna receive almost a 10% increase in their water tax
On the benefit,
on the benefit rate.
which has fluctuated over the years. It has gone up and down over the years.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't done it.
I know
I
last
haven't
year
done
was
it, but in other words, even if the town comes out with a 0 increase in taxes, anybody in the district, anybody that the water line crosses their house or anybody in the district is gonna receive a 10% increase. 9 point something. We'll leave it at 9%.
Yes, sir, the water district is a separate district standalone and has a,
Is there a surplus in the water district?
not a surplus, no.
Okay.
No, we would,
Just as long as everybody's aware of that, that's all.
we tried very hard to keep the increase down. That is why, based on what the expenses and so on going into this, that's how it was determined. And not just another we picked out of the air for a head.
No, I wasn't saying that. But
No.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Tom, I'm sorry, did we vote on the bill? Did you, okay. The one bill that you had to,
We didn't vote on it.
I'll make the motion to pay.
Eric makes the motion to pay it.
No worries.
Are we doing
Unless
that?
screw up, kick me.
Oh, second.
Thank you, David. David seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you. Okay. Preliminary budget discussion?
Are we gonna go through the changes?
You went to the big changes and comments.
Okay, the changes. First item, zoning clerk. The rate was changed to equal the planning board rate. That was the reason for the change there. From what was in the initial preliminary budget, it down to the level, so the two rates were the same. I talked with staff and she was agreeable to that. There was contingency added to the highway department this year, and that was reflected in the preliminary budget. $20,000 contingency line was put in, whereas last year there was not one. In order to bring the overall budget down to within the 2% for the tax levy purposes for New York State rules, there was $326,000 brought in from the unexpended funds, 170,000 from the general, and 156,000 from the highway, bringing that to a total of 326,000, which reduced the amount to be raised by taxes to $910,691.81 before the library and Poestenkill Fire Department referendums, or library referendum and the fire department.
Do we have unexpended funds that are labeled as highway and labeled as general? Because I was confused by that.
It's supposed to be separated.
I'm trying to get them broken out and just try to segregate that.
I guess on that same questions are, do you have this?
This is numbers that I put together. And I'm still trying to unwind the gross amount that we have between the respective.
So is there really any meaning when we say 170 from general and 156 from highway if we don't know which is which? Like, you know, not.
I don't have it to the penny figure. No, sir.
Yeah, I'm just, it just seems,
There is,
we're writing numbers down, but we don't have the,
We don't have the backup.
we don't have the backup, so we could have $1 million in highway and nothing in general, and we're just picking these two numbers. I'm just, you know, that's hard for me. I asked for that number too, just as Eric did before.
Well, does it matter in terms of legally? Can we decide we want to use expended balance from our bank funds, even if we don't have it specifically earmarked over the years, what accumulated funds they were?
I have no idea. That's,
Because I looked at just the bank statements for like highway and general fund, if we just took it out of there, not even talking about the savings account. So,
Right.
and I think that's
But
what
if
Tom is
we
doing.
commingled it over the years because we had
Right.
surpluses, does it matter? That's kind of the question.
Because we don't really know where the money for the treasuries originally came from, each department, whether it was general or highway. So that got invested, that
Right.
made money.
Right.
And now we're just at a point and we don't know how all that.
And
Where
then I
we're
guess
at.
my question is, do we have the authority to pull the money from our commingled funds without any issues?
I-
With the town board.
I would, from my point of view, I just would be honest about it and say, I don't know where this, just put one number up here, say unexpended fund balance. Because we don't know these numbers. So I don't see how,
We cannot go above the, for example, on the general fund, we cannot go above, 100, according to Betsy, we could not go above like 196,000, because that would have brought it down to zero. There was a limit which we could go to on that.
so you said something. The 196,000 would bring what to zero?
Okay, on the general,
General account
The general
5777,
amount to be raised.
but the amount from the money market savings account, that's probably commingled in the different departments over the years. Do we have the authority as a town board to say we want to pull it from this account and this account to be unexpended balance in our budget? Do we have any issues?
Ian reviewed the budget, called him, and he did not have any issues. I answered, had a question just about, and 2 questions, and otherwise the budget seemed satisfactory, the way it was set up, satisfactory to him.
Pulling the amounts that you said, the pulling amounts that are here.
The rest,
But my question is broader than that, but I guess we don't know the answer for that.
Ian will be in tomorrow morning to talk with Sue, and I'll ask him that
I mean,
fact.
I personally don't see why it's a problem. It's the money that we've saved over the years.
But I'm assuming now, you're talking about just taking it out of the highway account, the 156. So you got 217 in there, so that leaves DJ with 61, and the same thing, general fund is coming out of like the general fund bank account, and you're not touching the savings?
Excuse me if I said that wrong, we're looking at taking it out of the savings.
And
Okay, so
not
then
of
that
the
goes
other
back to
accounts.
Frank saying like, okay, why don't we just have one lump sum if it's gonna come out of
Yeah,
savings?
why,
Yeah,
I didn't understand it. So you said if Betsy told you to take more than 196,000 out, it would lower your amount in the account to zero, or would put the tax increase to zero?
it looks like it would be a tax decrease if you went over that number
Is that a
for,
bad thing?
I don't.
You're talking about $26,000 from where you're at now.
Even, I have a couple of things, I'm just really, just being new to the board, and I should, Tom's probably the same. This has been difficult because it seems that bookkeeping stopped at some point prior to January of 2024, and we've had no real numbers to base anything on, no actuals or anything till recently, and I know that we're making progress towards that. I still don't think we have it, it's not done yet. So we're still using estimates to come up with this budget. I looked at the budget from last year, the numbers that you gave me, and it looks like we transferred 300,000 to the 2023 or 2024 budget or so, give or take. And of that 300,000, we came in under budget to date so far by, a couple of $100,000, which I would attribute to the people on our staff watching the dollars, because they didn't spend all of their budget. Maybe we spent one pot more than another, but overall, we haven't spent that full $300,000 that the board allocated last year. So I feel uncomfortable leaning towards raising taxes without having solid numbers to base it on. And then looking at it, we didn't raise taxes, or the board didn't raise taxes last year, and you came in 200 and something thousand dollars under budget. So looking at maybe doing something like that this year, allocating the money from the unexpended fund balance and not doing the tax increase so that the people in the town aren't necessarily, if the numbers come up and we're off, then we're raising taxes for no real reason. Or, but once you raise them, they're up, that's it. Looking at it, just talking with Tom before, the number we're talking between this year and last year's tax levy is $15,964. So that would be, so if you made the 326, I'm gonna do math here.
341.
341, we could just not raise taxes and get our stuff in order and do things right going forward, which is where we all are going right now. And that's, and then if you think about it, $16,000, the town people, our employees and town people did not, they saved from budget last year, $200,000. So I think $16,000 is an easy target to save, and I just don't know if we should.
I think that's actually a pretty good idea.
How do we show where we saved this $200,000 from?
I can show you the spreadsheets, but there's actual expenses versus.
Actuals, right, and then there's projected actuals, right?
There's that, what I did, Eric, was you saw the numbers we got for town expenses based on, I just used January to September. Came up with that number, made the assumptions if it stayed level, and then did the same thing with the income side, which was a little clearer. And the 2024 budget and the actual and budget are about $200,000 difference. I have it over here if you want. I may have sent it out.
No, I didn't know. I understand how we got there. My point is, that what was like the top 2 or 3 biggest budget lines that we saved on? Because we're talking about how we don't know numbers, but we seem to be confident we saved money. So where did it come from? It didn't come from,
Yeah, you'd have to.
It came,
A lot of it came, I'm thinking highway probably did. I'd have to look at it and see if you want me to do that.
We went through that last
I
week
thought we went
where
through
we
it.
went through every item
We did.
that was less than.
but I don't know how that gets
Forecast.
to 200,000. That's where I'm confused.
Yeah, that total that was where it ended up.
okay, for just quick off, for example, engineering, Wayne hasn't been that busy. We had it was 18 or 19,000 there. Legal contractual, there's not personal service, contractual, there's 15 or so, 16 there on youth, youth services. Care was very good this year, and we were able to save a little bit of money there. And let's see,
And the incomes could have been higher too than expected.
we were very fortunate in what we got from sales tax. I mean, so far through the years, this year right now, there's only 3 quarters income in. We're at roughly $500,000, and we still have one more coming to us before the end of the year, which has been better. The sales tax collections have been better. We are fortunate to have the income from the various savings account that David come up with, and then the individual accounts that we have with M&T have produced good interest that we've been able to put back into the budget. So but the big thing is the savings on the lines, be it engineering, be it legal contractual, youth, and some of the planning board, there was 9,000. Those numbers totaled up. It wasn't one large 150,000.
Yeah, there's nothing large.
It was just a
Highways payroll was large, that one was over $100,000.
Well, right, I didn't want to say anything about your highway, sir, but yes.
Well, that's,
Right,
That's,
you know,
that's why I said.
right,
that's why-
you know what you're talking about. But just in general alone, there were various line items that we were able to, have surplus money up to this point in time.
Did we take money out of the savings account this month?
I don't think so, because
No, I
the
have not.
dollar amounts are pretty
We're
consistent.
We're down like
Oh,
$40,000
okay.
from last month.
Okay, okay, we had some interest in it, but we also had that truck payment, and we took some money, and,
So we did take money out of the savings account this month.
there was an item that we had to bring out some money from that. That's where the surplus funds have come from a number of the line items. In comparison to what the budget projection was for 2024, so those lines are, there's a few lines that are above, but that's what we have. All right, so question to the board. Thoughts on increasing the unexpended balance? These are just thoughts. From 326 to roughly 341.
And then no tax increase. I think it's a good idea. We probably, if we invest the monies that we still have next year, especially starting right away on January 1st, we possibly could make up that $15,000 relatively quickly. The rates, interest rates are still relatively high, even though they have come down a little.
To go back into treasuries instead of the savings.
Especially if we start early in the year.
Where's the line on treasuries?
There isn't any more.
We don't have any line in treasuries?
The only treasury line that we have right now is Water District number 2.
Yeah, Water District 2 has them.
That's the only one that has
Oh,
a
Did I
treasury.
misunderstand David, what David just said? We're talking about taking this out of.
He's talking about going back into
Into
treasuries,
gotcha.
which we weren't now.
Especially
it's
after
just
we
in
receive
savings.
tax revenue in the beginning of the year, because that's when we have our most money and fewest expenses.
How much is there, though, you think we could raise? Ish?
It's gonna be probably around 4.5%, so for over 12 months. So if we could do, we'll have probably 3.5 million in the beginning of the year once taxes come in, and we won't have the expenses. So if we can get that into treasuries right away, it's roughly $4,000 per 100,000 divided by 12 per month. So
So even if we, like, if it averaged $1.5 million for the whole year, it would.
it would pay for that.
Would
He's
be
talking
about
about 60,000.
60,000?
Yeah.
And do we think based on our past 2 or 3 years' experience in moving money around, that's a good idea?
You got to pay.
To raise a few $10,000?
$60,000 is a lot of money, but I
For
think
really
as long as
work.
you have we have a historical cash flow, and we make sure that those notes are accessible well before we need them, and keep enough cash on hand to.
Which we have in the past, but I'm just saying, I don't know that now is the right time to be, floating money around. We clearly don't have a full grasp of where our money is, but that's just my opinion.
Well, he's talking beginning of next year.
Well,
I
sure.
understand that. But we have to get our books in order. But I think once that happens and we know what we have, I think that's.
But I'm hustling to raise $60,000 on a $3 million budget. I mean, we've had to pay more than that penalties in recent years, so I just don't know that's a smart thing to do, but that's just me.
I don't understand.
What do you mean by penalties?
Well, we had to take money out of the T-bonds, right, last year because we have cash flow problem and we've had to pay other penalties to the IRS because of other not having.
Okay, now, okay.
The point of my thing is, let's get out of the habit of floating money around all the time and get our numbers in order and run it the right way instead of trying to make a couple of nickels or bucks off of $3.5 million.
I have a question on that bond that we had to pull out. Did we make money or lose money on that?
We made quite a bit of money because
Okay.
it was only in the last, like, 2 weeks.
So basically, we didn't get penalized,
There's
we
no
just
penalty.
didn't make.
We took money out early, but didn't give you know that.
There's no
Correct,
penalty.
there's no penalty for it. I just,
No. You just lose the potential interest from the last
like
2
if
weeks.
you were gonna make, $100,000 on the bond, maybe we made, I'm sorry, 100 probably a lot, but let's say instead of 10,000, you made 9,000, so there's really no penalty. Matter of fact, the town still made money on it.
I guess one of the questions I don't have an answer to, and we should maybe ask Ian, is when we're going into these, I know we do budget transfers, right? But when these things are done, these aren't done with the board action, right? So it seems to me, and maybe I'm just dense, but like just tonight, it's like, hey, do we take money out of the savings account? The answer is no. But we did take money out of the savings account. So how do we make sure we show that to the town board and folks when we're taking money out of savings, we're taking money out of bonds so that we all can see it?
I'll just give a detailed breakdown during the town board meeting. That's all. We do a budget transfer. That was a unique situation. It's a very special situation because it wasn't carried into the 2024 budget in 2023. We had to make a special exception.
They're unexpected expenses.
So that's, and we tried to make that clear.
So today we have $1.3 million in the savings account. We have nothing in treasuries. And then this is our current,
We have that one treasury for water district number 2.
sorry, I misspoke. So, and then this is the money that the current balance is on all our other accounts.
What is showing in the right-hand column is what is showing at M&T as of today.
What about other banks?
We don't have any other banks.
Nothing.
We have a few other accounts which are not primarily revenue source from different departments.
So we've closed all our accounts with other banks? Or you're saying with no active accounts with the other banks?
The only bank we have right now is M&T. That's our strict business relationship with the bank. There's no other accounts at any different banks.
M&T was the only bank that would offer to do these services with no fees and no weird charges. We used to get thousands of dollars in fees from other banks.
We down from 28 accounts? I think was the number we had earlier this year? As we closed out accounts?
Oh, it was 18.
Sorry, I could be off by it. If I'm mistaken, it's 18. Have we closed out accounts in the past 9-10 months?
There was a couple of small accounts in a checking account that is no longer, we did start one up. We started one up for mining, we started one up for chips, just to keep money separate so it wouldn't get converted into anything else. We're just trying to keep money segregated and earn a little bit of interest, just so it wouldn't get diverted, just trying to prevent commingling.
I think another way of putting it is that we had to open new accounts and we have other accounts that have zero balance because those did not pay any interest. And they couldn't just change the accounts to give us interest. They had to give us new accounts. And now I think we're getting 3.4% on our money in the bank and pretty much in all accounts, right?
I think it's right now, I think it's down to 3%.
3%.
We were getting 3.5 up until the end of September.
And now it's 3.
Now it's
But in
3%.
all accounts.
Yes, sir. Except for the checking account for accounts payable and water district number 1 and the youth account. Youth checking account. Just the checking accounts we're not getting any interest on. And there's about 3.
So what should be done once all the accounts are reconciled is to close these orphan accounts. So that it simplifies future bookkeeping.
Yes.
Any other changes?
Also, I mentioned the one about zoning,
Right.
and that was equalization. There's no other changes in preliminary.
Yeah, there's one in highway, John.
Well, I'm still working to that.
Oh, you just said there was no change in the preliminaries.
I'm done. My bad, I'm coming through the pages, DJ, excuse me, for speaking out. Okay. When we go to highway, we have okay, in highway, when we go down to machinery, capital outlay on page 15. There is a reduction there from the tentative amount down to the preliminary, which reflects taking out the lease payment due January 1st or 2nd. We're going to pay that early and doing the funds transfer because of the surplus left in the street maintenance personal services account. There's ample funds there because fortunately PJ was working very short-handed the first 6 or 7 months of the year, and not all of the personal services money was expended, such that we're going to do a budget transfer later on in the year from personal services to capital machinery, capital outlay to pay that one lease payment for the truck, the final one. And that is due January 1st or 2nd. PJ is working with Kansas Bank and trying to get final numbers for that, which we'll be doing before the end of the year. That's one big change there.
Where is that from? Sorry.
Okay, page 15.
Yep.
Okay, under DA 5130.
Yep, machinery
Machinery capital outlay.
is down to what?
Okay,
I have an old budget, I guess.
okay, I'm
The
sorry.
the last budget, I don't know.
It's down to 57,704.
So it went from 113
Correct.
to 57,704.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
And our budget still includes the penalty, but we're gonna try to knock that down.
Okay, what I did is I thought, you were gracious enough to take a look at the Form 843, and Betsy's also gracious enough to take a look at it. And submitting that to the IRS requesting, because we paid the full amount of fees and interest for third quarter of 2021, I'm asking for relief for the fees and interest charged in 2024 on the fourth quarter, hoping and praying that,
Great.
that a substantial amount of that 38,000 will be abated. So, but that's being mailed to the IRS tomorrow. We put our case together and we're mailing out the form with the supporting backup from their CP 134B dated 10/14. So to make clear what we're asking for. And I had a conversation with the IRS beginning of the week, Tuesday, I believe it was, again, and was on the phone for a long time. And the lady said to submit it now, it takes 30 days to process, and that'll work time-wise in conjunction with what's doing through finalizing where the fourth quarter 2021 funding stands. They had shifted the money into the fourth quarter for 2021, what was left over from third quarter 2021, and have applied it properly, and now it takes 30 days to 45 days for them to completely go through it and get back to us. But that's what we're attempting to do there. So as to hopefully bring good results and substantially reduce that 38,000 figure. That, just takes time.
Anything else?
Okay, bond service, down at the bottom of page 15, the 80, under the tentative budget, that reflected, we thought initially maybe 900,000, but the figure was reduced to 800,000, and that's why it's 82,585 in there now as opposed to 88,400. That's a change. Again, just because of a little less lower amount, and hopefully we'll be getting a decent interest rate on that, but that was for the 5.25 per bank information that we received. And everything else is the same from what we were doing last week. And again, I mentioned about the contingency is officially added in highway. The $20,000 was added to that contingency budget where it had not been before. The very top item, DA 1990, very first item is showing preliminary for $20,000 for contingency. There's also contingency in general for 21,000, and then water also has a contingency of $20,000. In case we run into situations like we did last January. I believe I've covered the changes. There's only a couple changes from last week, and I'm just double checking myself now.
What's the situation with water?
Okay, water situation. We had the money to pay. We have bills from Brunswick coming up, and we have the 148,100 bond that's coming up November 30th to November 26th.
What about any kind of rates or changes in rates?
Okay, I've been trying to get information from Troy, it's calling, and also.
What I mean is the rates that we're going to be charging our residents.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to see, what, if Troy is going to be raising your rate or changing your rate to us.
Well, we can't wait for that if we have to approve it tonight, right?
I thought we set the rates for water later on in December.
Okay, fine.
Okay, as we need more, but I'm not getting any information back from Troy, so I don't have a lot, so to speak, to stand on and tell you where it stands.
But what about in terms of the water budget?
Okay,
Are we going to approve that?
that would be approved tonight also.
We had to change the number of benefit
Benefit units, it was a change, went down by 3, and I have to send that to Betsy for her review, into revision on that.
What do we anticipate changes in rates for customers? Per benefit unit, is that going to change from last year?
Last year it was lower, 355 was the rate that I got charged last year.
It's 9%.
It's a 9% increase. Okay.
On the benefit unit.
And that's not on usage, right?
No, sir, that's-
So this is the fixed amount that everybody pays.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody know what that dollars are per benefit unit? You said it's about,
There's a reduction, it has to be a reduction of 3. I don't,
no, but I mean, so the dollars per benefit unit goes from what to what?
I think it's 357 to 388, 82.
It's about $30 per benefit unit.
yes, that's the change, yes, sir. $28.
Well, if we don't have a tax increase, then that's the worst that we have in the stomach, I guess, for those of us in the water district.
All right, so,
I guess going back to Frank's question though, about like where we really do stand, where are we with QuickBooks and getting the income side of it?
We're working on, we have somebody on, that's coming in. I don't know how else to explain it to you, that everything that has been put in the information is not good. So she's having to go through each bank statement
Okay, but that's just like the bank statements.
and the general ledger.
That's
Right,
what
but-
drive
Huh?
That'll drive
equipment for the reconciliations.
Right. But you've kept up now so far with putting the income side
Yes.
in it, right?
Yes,
So you have some kind of idea that you can get a profit and loss.
I can't, because I can't
Do
do
that
from anything before.
or,
Do we have any idea how much interest we've gotten from M&T for the year? Do you have that number or a ballpark?
Yes, sir, David. Total interest from M&T is about 100 and, I'll say 136,000, 140,000 between
All the accounts.
the bond, that we got, the bond, and then the various accounts that we've had in the savings accounts.
Okay.
Between the two.
All right.
I think that's a lot of money. And it just seems like we should be maximizing if with T-bills on a schedule that we need our cash flow, just to do whatever we can to maximize that. income.
Once we have the cash flow worked out, it's not a hard thing to do, to make a phone call to say, we'd like to buy these, and then when they come due, he calls to say, they're coming due, what do you want to do? It's literally 30 seconds. It's not work. So June, how do you feel about 15,000 more from unexpended balance for no tax increase?
I guess I would just think about like where it is coming from. You know, if you look at the accounts, I had one concern about the drainage districts for the escrow, that there's nothing in there. It just seems like that there should be some kind of balance in that account, from the past districts that have been done. So if we decide that we're gonna take it all from savings instead of the individual highway or general, then
I think that would be a good idea.
I think that's kind of the only idea until we
find out where
find out
we're
where
at.
everything is, yeah.
But that's not really a budget question, just so to speak. That's just
Well,
where
It
to get.
is.
It is.
so like where,
Yeah,
right,
And realistically, the tax revenue is gonna come in January.
by
or
the end of
By
January.
the end of January, so that money really doesn't need to be transferred probably until the end of the year. If we get
End
our
of
budget.
next year, maybe,
Yeah, and then end of next year.
Yeah.
Correct.
if we need it.
If we need
This is just authority to spend money. It doesn't mean we're spending it.
exactly.
so we think that we're agreed that we take 340 out of the savings.
Yes.
I think so. If needed.
Okay, but right now, we have to specify in the budget that we are.
Correct.
And that's,
But we may not actually end up having to do it depending on how the year goes.
All right, so then what I do is I go back and ask Betsy to prepare unfunded balance usage of approximately 341, but Betsy has to come up with the final number, and then to get that, get the tax levy rate down to what it was, such that there'll be no tax increase. It would be the same as the 2024 tax.
But I think we can approve it without knowing it to the sub-decimal place, probably. Don't you think? If we say
I
that
would
we're
pass on the
continuing,
7th decimal place, yes.
but if we say that we're doing it at the same tax rate as last year, and it's just a matter of how much we pull from unexpended balance, we're estimating at 341, but it could be plus or minus a couple thousand. Is that something where we can say, yes, we've approved this? With that change? I think that's what we've done in the past,
This would be the preliminary, the adopted budget would be the final say, which would come
after her calculation.
in November. That's
Right.
Okay. Key point to this is getting the preliminary done tonight, such that Sue can post up or have posted up the elected officials' salaries in time for the deadline. We have to watch that, correct? Thank you, Sue.
So we go to pass this thinking that we're going to up the unexpended to the 341, so we just have to state that, I would imagine.
Yes, we would have to, that would have to be a condition.
Do you have a motion?
Well,
Or is it not at the right time of the meeting? We have to wait till action items?
yes,
Okay,
but any other discussion?
Okay.
What's the idea of being able to meet on the 7th for just to do the budget and have a public hearing, right?
That's what we're looking at. Okay. All right, then may we go to action item? Vote on an amended.
I move that we vote on it as amended with roughly 341,000 from unexpended.
That's that one.
Councilman Butler,
Yes.
Councilman Haas,
Yes.
Councilman Brzezzi,
Yes.
Councilman Oliver,
No.
Supervisor Russell.
Yes, please. Okay, so the amended preliminary budget was passed. That's who we asked me to work on it. And also run it by Ian tomorrow morning. And then we will schedule we'll have to schedule a meeting on approximately the 7th, but we'll talk about that a little more and make sure the notice goes out for the public hearing and for the adopted budget.
Time. So I see on the town board, personal services, when I put that in the ad, it's just 3 town board members because
David, I mean, we're
Right.
not trying to twist your arm. You've been doing the same things you've
Oh, yeah.
done the past couple of years. David is.
we usually put that in. We usually put 4 at the price, at what they make the salary.
And then they donate it back.
I think you
said
would have
last year you
to.
had to do that, right?
That's fine.
Okay, any
And
other
can you
questions?
tell me what the justices are, their specific, maybe just.
Yeah, I will dig that out for you, yes. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure, so what other information do you need?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. I thank you very much, one and all, for discussing. Thank you very much, Lou, and all the members who sat in with us tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Or am I missing something?
So moved.
Wait, really?
I was gonna say, it's not even 8 o'clock.
Awesome.
It's too
Haven't
early.
had breakfast.
I know.
I'll make the motion.
You saved yourself $69,000. You made the statement that roughly from M&T Bank, you got $136,000. Your budget,
Throughout the year,
pardon?
throughout the year.
Yeah, throughout the year. Your budget for income from interest and earnings to 70,000.
That's because the lower interest rates we're looking at going into 2025. We lucked out in 2024 with what was done on the initial in the treasuries, and then the interest that we were able to pick up throughout the course of the year on the smaller accounts. We lucked out. So, and yeah, that number.
I mean, it's gonna be good for the budget, but I think
It'll be good.
you're under budgeted on your income.
I think so.
I think so too,
I think so too, that's,
especially if we do
Which-
the treasuries.
On that
Which is
particular,
good.
which is.
right, I took a conservative approach on that because I knew interest rates were going down and didn't quite know where it was, and I didn't want to over project and come up short on that.
So we just have to vote on adjourning.
Yes. And you made the motion?
I think
I
Aaron
made
did.
the motion.
Eric
Frank
made the
seconded
motion, I apologize. And Frank seconded. All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Thank you very much, one and all, for attending tonight.
Yeah, but leak up on the
Judges, anyone?
Shut it off. Push up the ground.